Good afternoon, all you Facebook and YouTube users out there. Today's a good day for loafing around, so that's just what we're going to do. We are going to make a loaf of bread. I'm trying out a new yeast. Was up at the local Fry's here, Kroger for you guys in other areas. And I found this in the clearance section for $1.49. A pound of yeast. It's made by Safre or something like that, Lesaffre. It is called Safe, S-A-F, Instant. This is an instant yeast, which means you don't have to proof it. You don't have to put it in a container with some warm water and let it bloom and all that. You just toss this in with your flour and other ingredients, mix it all up, pop it in the oven, and go. That's it. So we're going to give that a try today. Where else are you going to find a pound of yeast for $1.49? So, and I've read online, a lot of people are really impressed with this. If you can, I believe you can order it on Amazon.com, and it freezes well. So I'll be freezing the remainder of this. And some people have said it's been a little over a year down the road, and they pulled it out of the freezer and it still works wonderfully. So we're going to give this a try. So let's see, I'm going to need my Alright, let me grab my utensils and get those ready, and I'll be right back. My oven is preheating to 450 degrees. Alrighty, so we're going to get this started. I've got my big 8-quart bowl out here. And I am going to measure myself 6 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour. I'm not weighing this or anything. I'm just using standard measuring cup for 1 cup. And using a knife at the top to level it all off. 3. 4. 5. And 6. Alright, so we've got our 6 cups measured out. Now we're going to need 1 heaping teaspoon of yeast. This is that yeast. There we go. We need 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. As you can see, you don't have to, other than the flour, sorry. Other than the flour, you don't really have to have exact measurements on that. Try to be as accurate as you can, but it doesn't require an accurate measurement on that. So I'm going to get me 3 cups of warm water. Not hot, you want it warm. Too hot and you'll kill your yeast. So I've got about 3 cups right there. I'm going to dump that in the bowl. And I'm using a special whisk. This is called a Danish dough whisk. And it makes the mixing a whole lot easier. Now here's where you want to watch your dough. If it's not absorbing all of the flour, you want to add a little more water. If it is looking like it's too runny, you want to add some more flour until you've got a nice dough. A rough dough, shaggy looking. And that looks like it turned out to be perfect. I'm going to check the bottom real good. Got a little flour down there. Come on. Get out of there. Alrighty, so now I'm going to let this rest for just a little bit. And I'm going to get me some parchment paper to put on my cutting board. You don't really need to knead this bread very much. Just a few times. There we go. Why the parchment paper? Well, let me tell you, once you take the dough out of the bowl and you put it on the cutting board, shape it the way you want an easy way to pick up and lift it and put it in the bowl you're going to use. I'm going to use a, here, I'll show you. I'm going to use my Dutch oven with a lid, and so that parchment paper will make it very easy to transfer the dough from the working surface into the cooking pot. I'm going to get me a little bit of flour to sprinkle on this piece of parchment paper. Oh, stupid me. I was supposed to put this bowl in the oven while it's preheating. Alright, I'll be back when this is all preheated and we're ready to go. Okay, while we're waiting for this to finish preheating, I'm going to put a little more flour on the dough just to make it workable. Just so I can work with it and get it out of the bowl. It's still a little sticky. What I want to do is get it in kind of a round shape. There we go. I'm going to fold it just maybe 4 times so I can get a round ball out of it. Come here. Bring in all the sides and try to flip it over. Come on, stop it. And there. Let me adjust the camera so you can see. Alright, you can see I've got a nice round ball here. I'm just going to brush off the extra flour from it. It doesn't have to be exactly round. There we go. And I'm going to use my knife to cut an X in the top. There's that. One this way. There's that. Give me just a moment. I'm going to try to tighten this up a bit. There we go. That's better. Now it's not wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. Alexa, how much time is left?
You have 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on your 30-minute timer on Michael's Echo.
Alrighty, now what I'm going to do is brush some of this excess flour off of the parchment paper and the cutting board. Right into the sink. Alright, that should do it. I'm going to fold down the corners here. So they don't stick out of the pan while we're cooking. Alright. See what we got there? A nice round shape with an X on the top. Let me check my temperature. A little hotter than 450, so I'm going to lower it just a little bit. But I am going to go ahead and put this in here. I will lose some heat while I'm transferring the pot out of here. So let me get this out. Set it up here. Take the lid off. Lift up the whole piece of dough and into the hot Dutch oven it goes. So we've got that in our Dutch oven with the lid on. We're going to put it back in the oven. Oh, here we go. Right there. And it is going to cook for 30 minutes with the lid on. Then we'll take a look at it. We'll take the lid off, take a look at it, and bake it another 15 minutes or so until it's golden brown on top. So we'll see you in about 30 minutes, okay? Alrighty. All right, y'all, timer just went off. We're gonna check this bread, see how it's doing. Go ahead and take the lid off. Oh my, 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 my. Let me show you what we got. Looky there. Look at that beautiful loaf of bread. We're going to continue to cook it for another 15, 20 minutes with the lid off. I'm going to put it back in. I forgot to mention that in the oven, the next rack. First of all, I have my rack that I'm baking the bread on at the second to the highest level. The Dutch oven just barely fits in there that way. And then in the rack below, I've got a baking sheet that I put in there underneath the Dutch oven. And the reason for that is sometimes a real common problem when you're baking bread is the bread gets done. Hold on one moment. Alexa, set a bread timer for 15 minutes.
Bread timer, 15 minutes, starting now.
Okay. One of the common problems is the bread is getting done, but the bottom gets overdone or sometimes burnt, and it also ends up with a very thick crust on the bottom. So that sheet pan will hopefully help deflect some of the heat from coming right up off the burner onto the bottom of that Dutch oven, so the bottom of our bread doesn't get too done. So we're going to let that go, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes. It may be 20, 25, who knows? We just have to watch it, and once it reaches the desired color we're looking for, and I'm looking for a real nice golden brown crust on the top. So we'll see you in a bit. Alrighty. Alright everyone, the timer just went off, so I'm going to check this real quick, see where we're at. Oh, it needs to go a little longer. So I'm going to let it go another 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll go from there. Alright y'all, it's done, so we're going to go ahead and take this out. Oh, that's a beautiful bread. Smells heavenly. Turn this oven off. And we're going to go ahead and take this out of the pan. So we can so it'll stop cooking. Put it on my cooling rack here. Give the bottom a brush off. Oh, don't do that. Still feels a bit tough on the bottom. We'll get it eventually. We'll just keep trying different things. Oh, that's hot. I think that should do it. Turn it over. Stop. Alrighty. Let's take a look at it. Looky here, y'all. A beautiful, beautiful loaf of bread. Isn't that something? Now you saw how easy that was. 4 ingredients. Took about maybe an hour to bake it. And it's homemade. You know what's in it. No, not chunk full of chemicals and preservatives that'll make it last forever. I don't know about you. You buy a loaf of bread at the store nowadays and you put it to the side. And seems like, you know, 3 weeks, a month later, it's still edible. Now, folks, there's something wrong with that. Bread shouldn't last that long without it being chemically or treated some way to make it have a long, long, long shelf life. So anyway, we made a bread. How's that for just loafing around? So anyway, sorry, my real dry sense of humor coming out. That's it. We're getting ready to start dinner here in a bit. I think tonight we're just going to do a hamburger patty with some cottage cheese and maybe a slice of bread. So we're going to let this completely cool before we cut into it. That way all the moisture stays inside of the loaf. And I may even cover it. I'm going to cover it with a dish rag to hold some of that moisture in. And that's it. Bon appetit. Remember that life is beautiful. You have a good evening, and we'll see you in the next video. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Oh, and by the way, if you can, please, please, please hit subscribe on YouTube or on Facebook. If you'll give me if you'll click on the like button as well. Also on the YouTube side, you can give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll get back to you. And alrighty, have a good one. Bye-bye.